only good when you are at one with yourself. You didn't ask for trouble, but you didn't back down from it either. It was as if you were born to the darkness. There is help on the outside. So if you get to thinking it's too much, you can't handle the pressure. You have any questions?
I hope you kill them all!
Where's the exit?
Inside a maximum security penitentiary, a man only known as Driver paces back and forth in his cell, eagerly anticipating the guards on their way to release him for serving his time, a lone picture on his wall with him and his brother. The guards bring him to see the warden, who starts giving Driver a lecture on good and evil, but as he talks away, Driver is focused on the time as he has places to be and people to kill. The warden hopes he can get help on the outside to change his life and wonders if he has any questions.
Where's the exit?
Driver walks out of prison like a man with a purpose, the vast desert not posing a threat as he takes off on foot. He soon gets to a car junkyard and finds his old muscle car there waiting for him. Inside he finds a file with his first target and a loaded revolver, and takes one last look at the photo of his late brother before racing off. He soon gets to his target's location. He barges into the workplace, and when he finds his target there working, Driver puts a bullet in his head just like that.
Sir!
Inside a club bathroom, a man paces back and forth waiting for his dealer to show up. His dealer soon arrives, and after a bit of back and forth about the cash, the man gets his stuff, gets back to his car, and shoots up. This man turns out to be a cop, only known as Cop, and his colleagues all side-eye him as he arrives at the crime scene, informing the female detective there, Cicero, that he is taking over the case. Driver stops by Groan, the private investigator he has been using to track down the people he wants to kill. Driver wants the other names, paying Groan the agreed price, but Groan sees his wad of cash and wants to double the price, claiming it took a lot to track his targets down. Driver is playing no games, so Groan calls up his muscle, Kenny, a large Samoan, to take Driver down, but when Kenny sees Driver's arm tattoo, he quickly backs down as he wants no problems. Without his muscle, Groan willingly offers the files plus a refund. Cop and Detective Cicero are going over the footage of Driver's first kill, and she realizes that the target recognized Driver, and this was not a random killing. The following day we meet business mogul turned freelance assassin named Killer. He receives the call and a photo of Driver and readies himself, while his girlfriend prepares his weapons. He sets out and soon arrives at a location his client suspects Driver will be next, and he soon spots Driver's next possible target, an old man. Detective Cicero has identified Driver and his tattoo, noting how only the most notorious prisoners can receive such a mark. Turns out Driver was arrested after a bank heist gone wrong, where he was the group's getaway driver. They managed to escape the cops, but afterwards things took a turn for the worst. Meanwhile, the old man returns to his apartment with a young girl helping with his groceries. She is about to leave when the old man offers her a drink, insisting that he thank her for her help. Killer is observing the apartment when he notices Driver pull up across the street. Driver confirms his target, takes a look again at his brother, and heads inside with Killer following closely behind. Meanwhile, Detective Cicero shows Cop a video of a crew of men ambushing Driver and his brother's team after the heist. She was able to retrieve the video a while back, but recently made the connection with Driver. None of the killers have been identified since the video shows no faces and focuses on Driver and his brother, who were the only survivors. In the video, the The men threaten to kill driver's brother unless they find out where the cash is.
It's under the floorboards in the kitchen.
Driver gives up the cash's location, hoping to save his brother, but his brother is killed with a blade. While the men search the apartment, Driver notices a man videotaping, the same old man who will be his next target. Driver threatens to kill them all before someone shoots him in the head. Back at the apartment, the girl starts to feel ill after the drink, and the old man drops his frail act, pulling out a camera to capture the moment. But Driver gets to his apartment and kicks in the door. The man grabs a blade, but Driver shoots off his fingers, ignores his pleas, and shoots him dead. Killer takes aim as he leaves the apartment, but hesitates when a girl steps between them. Driver instantly starts unloading. Forcing Killer to stay behind cover before disappearing. Killer cautiously checks around, but Driver has made it to his car and leaves. Cicero notes how Driver died for a few minutes, but woke up in the hospital, surviving the gunshot, and now has a metal plate in his head. Afterwards, Cop shows up late to pick up his son Tommy for his baseball game, and his ex-wife again threatens to take full custody of Tommy if he keeps this up. On the way to the game, Cop gets a call from Cicero about the second shooting, but when he sees the disappointed look on Tommy's face, he pretends to tell Cicero off, insisting on going to the game. He shows up to the crime scene 2 hours later and learns about the latest victim and the shootout in the hall with the second shooter. Killer explains to his girlfriend that Driver isn't like him, no sophistication or training, just raw untapped power and much faster than he is. His girlfriend reassures him that he will get Driver, and Killer decides to ask her to marry him right there and then. Driver gets himself a hotel room where he sees news reports of his rampage, but he shuts it off to focus on his mission. At the station, Cop burns his hand with coffee, and Cicero notices a tattoo on his arm, which he quickly covers. Driver gets to the town of Arvin and parks outside his next target's home, where he notices her saying goodbye to her son as he heads to school. She heads back inside to tend to her young baby, and is shocked to find Driver standing inside her home. The woman turns out to be his former lover, who was pregnant when he got locked away. He wonders if the boy is his son, only to find out that she had an abortion after she could no longer visit him in prison. She apologizes, but Driver leaves without saying another word. She knows what he is doing and yells at him to kill them all. Killer marries his girlfriend, and they celebrate their marriage by firing at cans. He now wants to start a family and a new life, ready to give up his career and passion just for her. Cop goes by his ex-wife's house, begging her to take him back.
Look, I do not need you coming here.
I'm begging you. Please.
What are you doing?
Look, I'll go to rehab. I swear to God I will. Please take me back.
She was his former CI and a junkie, but she now plans to get her life together and wants nothing to do with him or drugs. Cop pleads with her, and she finally gives in but decides to take his drugs from him. Driver is heading to his next target. He tunes into the radio station to hear a pastor pleading with people to stop the violence. He soon arrives in Henderson, Arizona, and spots his next target, who now works as a club bouncer. Driver leaves his gun behind and walks to the club, where he confirms the bouncer as the same man that killed his brother from his tattoo. The bouncer heads inside, and Driver follows him and sees him head to the bathroom. Driver steals an ice pick and confronts the bouncer, revealing his blade. The man has been expecting Driver and tells the attendant to not let anyone inside till one person walks out. The bouncer pulls out his own knife, prepared for a fight, but in no time, Driver stabs him multiple times in the chest. Before he dies, he begs Driver to call his son and tell him he is sorry, handing over his cell phone. Outside, Driver makes the call and passes the message on. Killer is looking over pictures of his wedding, but his old pictures seem to ignite a fire inside him, and he decides to continue going after Driver. His wife is disappointed, but Killer promises he will quit after this mission. She is worried Driver will kill him, but he loses his temper, causing her to shut down. That night, Cop and his son are talking when he hears a commotion. His ex-wife has relapsed and is out of her mind on drugs, and she thinks they're going to hell for what they did. The next morning, Cop calls Cicero, who has found out that both victims were informants and wants Cop to look into it. Cop thinks the club stabbing could be related, but Cicero doubts this. She wants him to look into her findings, but Cop hangs up on her. Driver is heading to his next target, but when he learns that the club bouncer is fighting for his life in the hospital, he hits a U-turn. Cop is also at the hospital keeping an eye out for Driver, while Killer gets a call from his client, telling him to head there also. As the surgeons are working on the club bouncer, Driver gets to the hospital. He heads straight to the operating room, and as the shocked doctors look on, Driver shoots the man, finishing the job. Cop hears the commotion, and the nurses direct him to where the shooter went. He follows after Driver into the basement floor of the hospital. He spots Driver and lets off shots, but Driver returns fire. They trade bullets, and Driver disappears for a quick second. Cop comes searching, his nerves almost getting the better of him, but as he steps into the open, he is face to face with Driver's gun. He prepares himself to meet his maker, but Driver realizes he is a cop and decides to spare him. Driver is back on the road when the bouncer's cell phone begins to ring. It is the man's son, who swears he will find Driver and kill him, but Driver tells him to do what he needs to. He then notices a sports car speeding up to catch him, and it is Killer who is on his tail. Driver hits the gas, his American sports car giving the Ferrari a run for its money. Driver quickly pulls ahead and skillfully maneuvers around a trailer. Killer stops and comes face to face with Driver's gun. Driver shoots his tires, but Killer hits him in the neck before Driver speeds away. Killer informs the client, who wants to pull the job, but Killer insists he has things under control. An injured Driver drives to his father's home, breaks in, and holds his mother at gunpoint, learning that his father passed away 4 years earlier. While his mother patches him up, Driver reveals he actually came to kill his pops, as he suspects he set them up after they refused to give him a share of their loot. His mother, however, refuses to believe the old man would do such a thing, as he loved Driver's brother too much, who was his actual son, while Driver turned out to belong to another man. She knows this was why he had a rough childhood and apologizes, and tears run from Driver's eyes. She wonders why they had to do the job, but Driver explains his brother needed him, as he owed some people a lot of money. Later, Driver leaves with his brother's ashes. On the road, he is again listening to the pastor on the radio preaching for peace and races off in that direction. Cop returns to the station, being hailed as some sort of hero after his encounter with Driver. Cicero thinks she has a breakthrough with the case. All the victims so far turn out to be informants who all snitched their way out of long prison sentences. She plans to pull the CI logs, so Cop decides to check out the other informants himself. Driver soon nears the location where the pastor is holding a crusade, who turns out to be his final target, Jared. Killer and Cop are also headed in that direction, all closing in for a showdown. Driver gets to the church service and enters the large tent, and when Jared lays eyes on him, his face goes pale with fear, and he finishes his sermon with a heavy heart. Afterwards, the two are alone, and Jared knew this day would come. His wife and son come to check on him, but he reassures her that everything will be just fine. Driver takes him for a walk. He realizes Jared has turned his life around, but it doesn't change what he did. He wants to know who set them up, but Jared was only told he could make easy money if he just guarded the door. He never expected anyone to die, and was shocked when it happened. He ended up in prison after that, where he decided to change his life around and save people like himself. He asks Driver to reconsider, as he can see there is good in him, but Driver plans to take his life. Jared accepts and forgives Driver for what he is about to do. He gets on his knees and begins to sing a song, ready to meet his maker. Driver aims his gun with tears in his eyes, but decides to spare his life, telling him to return to his family. Driver goes to sit alone inside the church, ready to put everything behind him and find a better way forward, when Killer appears, holding a gun to his head. Cop also arrives at the location. He gets a call from Cicero and tells her that Driver is there. She wants him to wait for backup, but he insists on going alone. As Cicero heads out, the CI information begins to come in. At the tent, Killer wants Driver to put up some sort of fight and acknowledge him, but Driver just thinks he has issues. Killer then sees his list of names and reveals to Driver that there is one more name he is missing, the one who hired him. At that moment, Cop appears holding killer at gunpoint, telling him to back down. Cop then suddenly shoots driver in the head, revealing himself to be the one who shot driver at the safe house and killer's client. Cop then reveals that driver's brother's girlfriend is actually his former CI ex-wife, who told him about the bank job, so he blackmailed his CIs to rob and kill them. Outside, Cop pays killer his fee, $1, but he refuses the payment and plans to quit this line of work. Cicero is heading to Cop's location with information linking him to the informants, realizing why Cop was insistent on taking the case and working alone. Cop calls his ex-wife, telling her he took care of driver and they will be just fine. Suddenly, a gunshot hits him in the back. It is driver, who survived the headshot, revealing Cop actually hit the metal plate in his head. Driver then finishes him off with a shot to the face. Cicero arrives and finds Cop's body. The police chief also arrives, but Cicero hides the evidence. Driver throws his brother's ashes into the ocean before heading off into the sunset. Thanks for watching. If you had a good time, go ahead and hit that like button, drop a comment, and of course, subscribe for more recaps just like this. And hey, don't click away just yet. YouTube thinks you'll love one of these 2 videos popping up right here, so check them out next.